Happy Friday, seventh grade. I want to start today by talking about the cultural mandate. That is a big fancy word for Genesis 1:28. That verse is right after God has created everything. The 5 days he created the creation, and then on the sixth day he made man in his own image. And then he says this. God blessed them and said to them, be fruitful and increase in number, fill the earth and subdue it. Rule over the fish in the sea and the birds of the air and over every living creature that moves along the ground. So God is saying that he put us as humans a little bit higher than the creation, and our job is to take care of it. So today we're going to talk about that part of our work in God's kingdom, and that's taking care of his creation. I asked you to have your books open to 148 and 149. If you don't, hit pause and go do that. But this part talks about saving the sea turtles. And in this era of Visco Girl, maybe some of you have heard about this, and if you haven't, it's fine. But in the era of Visco Girl, saving the sea turtles has almost become a joke. And what I want you to do is know that taking care of God's creation and being concerned with all ecosystems is never a joke. And it's something that we have to be aware of. What we are going to do is we're going to use this tool called Edpuzzle. You're going to read along with me, and I'm going to embed questions in the video as we go. So what I'd like you to do is you should have your book right by you. Go ahead and get it if you don't have it. And I want you to follow along as I read on page 148 and 149. We're going to read that whole lesson and be ready to answer some questions as we go. It'll be great for us to read and check our comprehension. All right, here we go. The main idea in saving the sea turtles. People can save their region's valuable resources by revisiting traditional ideas and finding new economic solutions. In other words, we have to take care of our environment around us. And sometimes we have to think outside the box to do that. In the early 1980s, sea turtles in Nicaragua began to disappear. Their decline in population was unusual, considering that they have outlived dinosaurs. For more than 100 million years, sea turtles migrated to Nicaragua's beaches to lay eggs, sometimes hatching 600,000 babies at a time. Now, hopefully your mind is ding, ding, dinging because we came across things like hundreds of millions of years ago. And we've talked about this before is we're not sure how old the earth is. One thing that we can be sure of is that God created it. And that's where we're going to land. And that's that shared space that we are going to have, that we know that God created the earth. Emerging Spanish explorer Jose Ortega is a young marine biologist who decided to find out why sea turtles were disappearing so fast that they were close to extinction, or in other words, they were dying out completely. Ortega discovered that poachers, or people that hunt or fish illegally, were stealing sea turtle eggs from beach nests. Poor people in Nicaragua live on less than $1 a day, but a poacher can earn as much as $5 selling just 12 eggs a day because of their great demand for these eggs. Sea turtle eggs are highly valued in Nicaraguan culture. Turtle meat and turtle eggs are traditional foods of the country. People also use sea turtle shells to make jewelry. I recently watched a documentary that followed egg poachers, and they interviewed a guy. Obviously, he kind of had his face covered. He wanted to remain anonymous, but he just said he knew it was illegal, but there was no work for him in his village. And by doing this, he was able to provide for his family. He just kind of felt stuck. This is what we needed to do. And of course, we want families to make money, but not necessarily at the expense of the environment. But we don't want to hold the environment over people's needs either. So you have this hard tug of war going on. So Ortega comes up with some great solutions that maybe both sides of the tug of war match can be winners. Let's take a look at his finding the solutions. Ortega knew that to save sea turtles, he had to help poor people earn money in other ways. He also had to encourage people to see their culture in a new way. So, starting in 2002, he put together a team that worked with poachers, celebrities, young people, and conservation groups. First, he convinced poachers to sell their turtle eggs to him so he could hatch them. Then he taught these poachers how to make a living by farming, raising bees, guiding tourists, and making crafts. Ortega even hired former poachers to patrol the beaches and protect the nests. He started hatcheries, places designed for hatching eggs, to make sure a new generation of turtles would survive. To inspire cultural change, Ortega focused his message on young people. He launched a huge media campaign to reach his audience. We are on the top of 149. Make sure you're following along. The campaign included sold-out rock concerts to raise awareness, as well as celebrities stating, "I don't eat turtle eggs." His school programs teach children how important it is to protect species. Children also have the opportunity to work with hatcheries. In 2008, young people celebrated the first release of hatched baby turtles in their town's hatchery by wearing t-shirts showing a tiny turtle breaking out of an egg. Ortega's goal is to end the demand for turtle eggs and to save sea turtles from extinction by educating a new generation. By 2010, thanks to Ortega and his team, almost 90% of sea turtles became protected. Ortega is committed to continuing saving sea turtles by motivating young people through their brains, so educating them, and through their hearts, so touching them, motivating them. We have been to Florida a couple of summers ago and noticed these things as they tried to protect Florida beaches as well. We were at an ice cream shop, and obviously they have plastic forks and spoons and straws and stuff. And this was what was hanging in their window. It was kind of a no trace campaign. In other words, don't leave any trace of yourself on the beach at night, giving turtles a clear path to and from the water. So it's asking for you to pick up your trash, obviously, but also your belongings. Then there was a souvenir shop where you could purchase little magnetic turtles. And mine is at school, hanging in my classroom. But this too was to the Turtleman's Foundation to help save the sea turtles. So, like Ortega, people in that community were looking for ways to campaign to save what was important to their environment. Now, here in Sioux Falls, obviously, maybe sea turtles aren't important part of our ecosystem, but that doesn't mean that God isn't calling you to look around and see what part of your environment does need you. Okay, our rivers and wildlife that we have to protect here in South Dakota. So anyway, we will continue to look at sea turtles next week. All right, now that we are done with the Ed puzzle, we're going to go back to our to-do list and see what else it has for us to do. The second thing is to go back to yesterday's post, which is your Thursday, April 23's to-do list, and finish the last 2 vocab words. So you're going to go back to yesterday's post because that's where the slideshow is attached. Finish those last 2 words. If you notice on the very last slide, I have something called Friday's Notes. Well, what you're going to do is you're going to watch this National Geographic presentation. It's about a 3 or 4 minute thing about the sea turtles of Costa Rica. And on that last slide, list 3 facts that you learned from the video. You might want to have a split screen so you can go from your video to your notes and back and forth or whatever. But so both of these things are in yesterday's slideshow. So you have to go back to yesterday's post for those. Okay, continue to contact me with questions. I want to show you how Google Meet is a little bit different. When you go to Google Meet now, what I would like you to do, instead of me sending you a direct link every day, you're just going to go to meet.google.com and it will give you a place to type in a nickname. And my nickname is always W Potma. So if you do that anytime between the 1 and 3, we will get connected. All right. You may have seen on social media that our mayor has issued the 100 miles in 100 days challenge. So he wants everyone to continue to get out and be healthy in safe ways. So that might be walking 100 miles or running it or biking it or ripsticking it. Whatever you do, record those and try to get to 100 in the next 100 days. That would be a fun thing to do to get started with on this weekend. All right. Thanks for your work this week. Contact me with questions. Proud of you, Chargers.